Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shay and I'm an aspiring debut novelist. So today is going to be a writing video vlog about my journey through Camp NaNoWriMo July version. Now, little caveat. Through my researching and looking at more videos and stuff about it, I found out that NaNoWriMo is not really a thing anymore as of the beginning of this year. Well, that's tragic. But I was like, I already, committed to doing this, and it's not like there was like a website for this part specifically, as far as I can tell, or anything like that. It's just writers coming together. So I decided I was going to finish out this series since I'm already a week in, and just go ahead and commit to still titling it Camp July NaNoWriMo. However, in my research, I did find one of the little replacement things that they're doing in its wake. It's called the Rough Draft Project. So I was like, that's really cool, and there's a little website where you can track your progress, and I'm going to show that for you right here. And I like it because it shows the black line of where if I did the exact same amount of writing every day, I could get to my goal by the end of the 30 days this month. But the little blue line is my actual, where I'm actually at. Now mind you, I know the first few days say that I did absolutely nothing, but that's because it doesn't let you go back in and add days prior. You can only add it in on the day, which I guess is really good because it means that you can't go back and change numbers or fib anything. Whatever you put in, whatever number you put in that day is the number that it keeps, and then you move on to the next day. So I do really like that. Let's go ahead and go through how my week went this week, and whew, was it a week. Tuesday, I looked at my Abby prompt, and the gist of it was to celebrate the fact that you made it through 7 days. So I was like, you know what, yeah, a little treat. I went and hung out with some friends and their kids and everything like that, my godchildren with my kid, and it was a lot of fun that day. My son figured out how to play hide and seek, so that was kind of cool. I officially started my 2 new audiobooks because I finished the first book of Maggie Gray and I finished Mythos. So I'm starting the second book of Maggie Gray and the first book of Blood at the Root. Wednesday was another okay day because it was the challenge that prompted the day. It was basically all about outlining, which is something I technically already did. Before I started writing this second draft, I re-outlined my entire novel and did the restructuring that I wanted to do in the outline, and now I'm just writing based off of that new outline. So there wasn't really much to do on Wednesday. But I took the time that day to start prepping some stuff for my toddler. I figured I need to do a little bit more hands-on stuff with him at home, and so I got a bunch of Ziploc bags, and I went to Walmart, and I got a bunch of little things, and I'm gonna show you those little things. So for all of my fellow mom writers out there, if you got any ideas or suggestions of stuff that I can do with a toddler who has a very short attention span, I get it, toddlers have short attention spans anyways, but I got 2 to 3 minutes with him before he's peace out, ma, I'm gonna go run off and do something else, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. And however, that is nice and simple to where he can feel confident doing it. He feels confident matching and stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna let you see my little baggies that I made and what he did. Alright, so that was my Wednesday, playing with him. Like I said, he's not really ever gonna be on camera, or most people in my life really aren't gonna be on this camera. It's just gonna be me. But I wanted to show you some of that aspect stuff. Thursday. Now Thursday, the prompt's all about the hook, your opening, alright? How is chapter 1 going? Does it hook the reader in? And honestly, I think I have a really solid first line, but then afterwards I was like, it gets kind of wordy, and I was like, I do need to change that. So I spent most of Thursday rewording, reorganizing, I decided, I was like, you know what, I should spread out this throughout the book instead of just having a paragraph here. So I just was like snipping out stuff and putting them in other places. So I didn't really count my word count that day because I didn't feel like, I didn't really write anything new. I just rearranged what I already had. I met with my new principal because teacher life means that school is starting back up soon. I cannot believe we are already halfway through July and only a couple of weeks for me going back to work. It's crazy. I had lunch with my father, so it was like Father's Day / birthday lunch because I wanted to take him off for Father's Day, and he was like, nah, I'm tired. And I was like, okay, fair. You know, he's moving the whole house and all that other kind of stuff. And then I was like, well, how about your birthday? And he was all like, I'm going to be in Chicago because I'm grown and I do what I want. It's hard having retired parents, man. They just off doing what they want, living their best life. As they should. But I was like, how am I supposed to do stuff for you then? So we met in the middle and we did lunch in between the two. I don't know what it was about thinking about the beginning of this book that gave birth to the ideas of 2 more projects. And I'm going to talk a lot about them in another video later down the road. So I'm really not trying to focus on them. I'm trying to focus on Project Legendary. But that is Project Alliance and Project Vanity. I brought a brand new 5-subject journal because I was tired of having a bunch of little journals everywhere that had bits and pieces of all of my ideas, and I'd have to search through and be like, oh, where did I put that thing at? No, 5-subject spiral. And it's going to be the house of all of my projects. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek closer. This is what you get, and just know I have already started writing up the storm. I converted everything from my other stuff. So like, yeah, I converted everything that was in my other journals. Actually, this is new. This was class schedules. Theme only had one, and one day this past week, I was like, there are some other characters that I need to know what their schedule is like, or at least remember that they have certain periods with my main cast, and then it turned into half the cast getting a class schedule. That's the life of a plotter. Sometimes you get wrapped up in the planning process, and it's stuff that like nobody else is ever going to know. At no point in this book is it going to be a breakdown of all of these people's class schedules. It's just for my sake, for my brain insanity, the continuity. I don't want to say one of my characters' 6th period is theater, and then chapter 13, their 6th period is suddenly English class. Don't want to do that. So that's why everything is in one place now, for my sanity's sake. And Friday, woke up late, which is the story of my life, I feel like, in these vlogs, is me waking up late. Friday was the day. Friday was the most challenging day this week, because I did that. I got mixed up with my son's appointments. I thought one lady was supposed to be coming to my house. It turned out it was the other lady who was meeting him at the daycare. So she went to the daycare. I had to call her so she could come here, do the appointment with him. And then that appointment wound up going longer than intended. So then I couldn't drop him back off at the daycare because they don't do drop-offs during nap time. And then I was supposed to be going out with my husband and doing some other errands and stuff after that. And I still went out with my husband and just take my son with me. But I didn't do the other errands because doing other errands with him is just like hit or miss. Also, with like the stuff in the air, allergies and whatnot, I'm not trying to have my son coughing and sneezing more than he needs to. So he stays in the house unless he's at daycare. So that was just all of that. I felt like by the time I got home and settled and got in and laid him down for his nap and everything like that, there was so little time to do anything. Because at that point I hadn't cleaned the house at all that day. I hadn't done any of my stuff. I had read it all. It was a mess that day. And then I had D&D that night. So which started at like, we start our sessions usually like 6:30 and they go till like 11:30 at night. So that was basically my whole day. So I didn't write a lot that day. Saturday. So I woke up early on Saturday because I knew the previous couple of days I hadn't really gotten a chance to sit and write a lot. So I woke up super early, did my writing stint, and then I watched my niece the entire day. So you moms who do like 2 under 2, you know, 2 under 3, which is what I had yesterday, more power to you. Sweet baby Jesus, more power to you. Because that was a lot for me. That was a lot. My husband helped, but he was off helping his mom for like 4 hours too, so it was just me and the children. I did also, that day that I got my spiral, I purchased a little calendar. Now this is mostly for me, and I'll give you a zoomed up in a little bit. For like half this calendar is my stuff for the rest of the year, and then the other half of this calendar is actually for my Project Legendary. And it is the dates of stuff that's going to happen in the book. Because I needed a visual of, okay, how long am my little mini time skips actually going for? You know, am I making is there too many weeks in September? Is there too few weeks in October? Did I say this was a Friday or a Saturday? So I bought this so that as I'm drafting, I can fix and do stuff in the mini calendar as well. So along with a class list, I also made a miniature calendar for my world, because life of a plotter. And it really does teeter almost on procrastination with the world building. So I really got to watch myself. And then Sunday, church, so it was nice. And the prompt for that day was all about building, fleshing out your world, which I love to do. And I watched her video actually on writer archetypes, and found out that I took her little quiz, and that she has in the description of that video, and found out I am the architect type writer, which when I read it, I was like, yeah, I kind of knew. I didn't know what all the other types were going to be, but as soon as I read that, I was like, yeah, that's me to a T. And I'm going to read you the little blurb it gives you for the architect. You are a builder of stories, someone who thrives on structure, clarity, and intentional design. Does that sound like what I've been talking about half this video? Before you begin writing, you want to understand how everything fits together. The arcs, the pacing, the purpose, behind each scene. You don't just write stories, you construct them. At your best, your work feels cohesive, satisfying, and expertly crafted, with every piece in its proper place. Your challenge is letting go of perfectionism and allowing room for discovery, because sometimes the most powerful moments aren't planned, they're discovered. And that, I feel like, was my big overarching lesson this week with this camp challenge, was letting go of my ideal schedule and ritual, of my ideal schedule and routine of how I think this should go, and allow what does come, you know, because I think it was yesterday, I had another idea for 2 more story ideas, and I have also noticed that my story for this draft has gotten better and better as I've allowed time to progress of me working through these changes, watching more videos on craft and things of that nature, that it's gotten so much better over time, and that it's okay that it's happened over time, but also not to let it stunt the completion of my drafts, because I've been on draft 2 for a hot skip minute now, and I finally had to be like, no, I need to get through the draft 2 of the changes I already knew I wanted to make, I already know need to happen. And as I am learning and discovering these new things, that can be stuff for draft 3. That it is okay if there is 2, 3, 4 draft versions before this becomes the story that I want it to be. So what I actually did to help stop myself from changing and being halted by, oh, I need to go back and do this, or oh, I need to go back and do this, so that I could keep moving forward this month and not have any more days like the day where I just stopped and reorganized. I could have reorganized that later. I could have made myself a little note and actually kept pushing through writing that day instead of going back and reorganizing. So I made a nice little list of edits so that when it comes into my head, I write it down as, okay, I want to change this for draft 3. And everything in its proper place, so me. Because even when I watch movies or I read stories and things of that nature, I hate plot holes. It takes me out of the immersion. If I'm like, wait, that don't match with what you just said 2 chapters ago, or at the beginning of this thing, you said this. Now, if it's a twist that makes sense and like they account for the fact that you were shown something different, and that's a part of the twist, and it's like, oh, but from this other person's perspective, this is actually what happened. That's totally different. But just to leave a gaping plot hole, I can't stand it. So when I write, I try not to have any kind of plot holes. I try to, if I make a point to put something on the page, that it is resolved at some point, or it plans to be resolved at some point. Now, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but I do have a plan for some of my plot points to continue from one book into another. So, but they will still be resolved, because like I said, I cannot stand plot holes. And honestly, that was my week. Crazy for a couple of days, but I honestly learned so much about myself, about how I'm going to go about writing in the future, especially since this ideally was perfect timing. This is my summertime. This is the time I have where my son can be off at daycare and I can have the majority of the day to do all the things I want to do. And so if things can go wrong even in my perfect timing, in my perfect planning, then things will definitely go wrong as I move forward into the school year and things of that nature. And I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay with not waiting for the perfect time, especially when it comes to these videos. I've been recording while my son is away, while my husband is at work, because I was like, I want it totally silent, and I want to be able to have the lighting right, and I want to have all this stuff to make, in my opinion, what would be the best video I can make. But I know once school starts, these moments are going to be far and few between, and I have to adapt and be flexible, and that's okay. And if you're like me, you enjoyed this video, you're powering through whatever you are doing this July as a writer, whether it be this Camp NaNoWriMo, even though it's not like official anymore, whether it's the rough draft project, or whether it's any of the other things that have come to replace that as a summer writing goal push through. I wish you the best of luck on yours, and I think we should encourage each other and help each other out and sing each other's praises when we are taking those steps, because it's important to not feel alone in this. So go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. I love to hear from you guys. Let me know how your summer writing projects are going. Do you have any new summer writing projects? Are you like me and just the ideas are spurring out? Whatever the case may be, I hope you have a wonderful summer. I will see you next week.